The affordability of gold and silver is something that I take quite seriously, and a lot of people perhaps don't think about the practicalities of at some point selling their gold and silver and really struggling to find a buyer for somebody who's looking to put a large chunk of cash into one single object. Often the smaller that the piece of gold or silver is, the more popular and easy it is to sell. But there is a tipping point as to when it becomes too expensive per ounce to buy. So where will things be in the future, and how can we prepare our stacks today and buy what is best to help us with that liquidity when we need it most? Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining me for another precious metal ramble. Now I want to talk today about the future affordability of gold and silver. You've only got to look at the last 10 years to see that they've both doubled in value, which is a huge gain. Arguably that is because the devaluation of currencies over that period of time, but the point is that it costs more now today to buy gold and silver than it did 10 years ago. And whether or not that is going to double again in a shorter space of time because of the bigger geopolitical situations in the world and the craziness that is the 2020s right now, or it will be a slower burn over the next decade, I still think we're going to see a doubling of gold and silver again at some point. Now that's not financial advice, and I don't certainly pretend to know the future, but it does make me think about the fact that if gold and silver were to double again, will people still be buying it at those prices? Will we still be able to sell it at those prices? And you might think, I'm never going to sell my silver and gold. I'm buying this to protect wealth for generations to come. But it's always prudent to have a think about the liquidity of your investments, especially gold and silver, where it's physical things that you take custody of. How are you going to actually get those sold if push came to shove? It's very important to think about, and it's something I've always talked about on my channel. So, affordability of big ticket items like a 1 ounce gold coin and a 1 kilo bar are certainly going to be in question in the future, and I think it's going to make for some interesting, thought-provoking discussion. So if you want to share your thoughts down in the comment section, please feel free to do so. It might be different to others, so please do so respectfully, and I'll see you down there for a fun, healthy debate. And whilst you're down there, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, because we're nearing 60,000 subscribers, and we will be giving away some silver when we get there. So, on with the video. Now, I've definitely noticed in my tenure of, well, I say tenure, it's the 10-year, not 10-year stacking adventure that I've been on. I started back in 2015. So actually, it's not nearly that far away from 10 years, but the first bits of silver and gold that I bought, I remember buying a sovereign for £190, I think it was, 188 something on eBay. Oh God, if you could buy a sovereign for £188 right now, you'd be laughing to the bank. But it's doubled, it's over doubled in that time period. Now the big question here is, will you still be able to find someone that can afford to buy an ounce of gold? So the big thing that you've got to remember, and a lot of people sort of get confused with this, is that yes, gold and silver have doubled over that time period. Oh, some very awfully milky Britannias here. Anyway, they have doubled over that time period, yes. But it's also meaning that the value of currency has gone down over that period. Now, whether or not that valuation of currency has gone down an exact amount, the same as the growth in gold and silver, is sort of up in the air in question. Depends how you measure things over that period of time with inflation and devaluation of currencies, etc., buying power. But we can all agree that £1,900 10 years ago doesn't buy you the same amount of stuff as it does today. So that is the big crux here. There will always be a relative market for gold and silver in the currency that you buy in, whether it be pounds or dollars or euros or whatever currency it might be. There is always going to be that relevant sort of history of wealth and that preservation of wealth over time. The old adage of, an ounce of gold will buy you an ounce of gold's worth of stuff is generally pretty true, and you can say the same roughly for silver as well. There will be dips and highs and lows in the markets where you will not have that, and that's where you make money on gold and silver. That's where you can actually gain some additional value over the hedge against the value of your coins. Oh, sorry, the value of your money in your pocket, the fiat currency in your bank account. That's a lot of the things that people forget, that yes, it's a hedge, and yes, it protects your wealth against the devaluation of currencies, but sometimes currencies are strong and sometimes metals are strong at the same time. And that's where you can look to really gain some momentum and add perhaps additional ounces to your stack by changing up little bits of gold and silver. So there's definitely ways to go about things. Now, from my perspective, I would say that the market right now is very tough for big, chunky bits of gold. You've got to think about it logically. If somebody has a budget to buy gold right now with the cost of living crisis, with everything else that's going on in the world, you're probably not going to look to shell out all in one go on a single coin at 1 ounce. There are plenty of other options out there. The market is flooded with other fractional bits of gold. Now, you've got to be a little bit careful because some of the fractional bits of gold and silver are very expensive. And if you are buying down at the 1 gram range, now I do have my little 1 gram silver bars here. I call them my Apocalypse barter tokens. They are a novelty item. They are not an investment item. You know, the idea is that they will be used as currency, as old coins were back in the day. Because, and I've got a little baggie of coins here to show you, of course, silver was coinage all the way back when. And so the smaller denomination of coin allowed you to buy different amounts of things. And you can obviously tell right now that whilst a silver quarter here, I haven't done the exact maths, but I think it's probably worth about, what is it, £4, something like that, $4 or $5, something like that. I don't even know what the face value ratio is. It's usually 20 to 1, I seem to remember somebody saying. So, $5, say, for this. A quarter back in the 1960s and 1950s would have bought you a lot more than it does today. But buying this stuff right now is an expensive alternative to buying something a little bit more traditional in that ounce form for silver, for example. And certainly if you go up the scale and you look to buy a kilo bar of silver, which, by the way, this week I've seen some kilo bars of silver go for sale on the Silver Forum at spot price, basically. Maybe you touch over with postage, 1 or 2 percentage points over. If you can get something like that, then surely that's a better way to look to invest in silver. Well, yes, but also no, because at the other end of the life cycle of this, you've got to find somebody to buy that big 1 kilo bar of silver. And it comes into that same question of the big 5 kilo bar of silver that I bought a few weeks and months ago. And for those Backyard Bullion Ramblers and Cool Kids Club members, I'm going to show you it at the end of this video. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. But I'm doing it. And it's bloody hard. I'm doing it. Anyway, well, stick around to the end of the video because it's going to be worth having a look at what's going on that. But the point here is that the affordability of this stuff is difficult. And if you're buying down at the fractional end, whether it be 1 gram silvers or 1 gram golds, you're going to be paying a lot more per ounce than you would for a big chunky 1 ounce gold. So I still think there is going to be a place in the market for this stuff. But it's all relative. Now, if you are a stacker that has been stacking like me for 9, nearly 10 years, then you were used to buying gold at £800, £900 an ounce. I think the cheapest ounce of gold I've got in my stack is about £900 an ounce. It's a Krugerrand I seem to remember buying off the Silver Forum. I remember buying it in a car park of a pub somewhere near to me, and it was all very clandestine, but it was all very above board. It was all fine. But yeah, it was a bit weird, but I did it, saved myself a tenner on postage, so easy peasy. But when you think about it now, gold's £1,000 more than it was to buy that coin. So for me, I am always looking at that going, well, this is very expensive right now relative to other things. And hindsight being that wonderful thing is, why didn't I put all my money in gold back 10 years ago? Well, you can't ever do that. Never put everything all in one basket. That's just not a smart thing to do. So the point here is that there will be a buyer's market for it, because the new people that come into the market right now, people who have just, they were in their mid-20s or mid-30s 10 years ago, and they weren't in a position in their lives to put money aside into gold and silver. Perhaps now they're on the property ladder, and perhaps now they're earning a bit of decent salary and they want to start putting away some extra money in a different form. Perhaps they've got some investments and they want to diversify. Gold and silver buyers right now are coming new to the market, and they're looking at gold and silver and they're thinking, well, an ounce of gold is 1900. That's just what an ounce of gold costs. They didn't necessarily look back and see that the real terms gains have come for those that bought it 10 years ago. But in 10 years' time from now, who knows where things will be? And you might very well have that increase, that 10, I was going to say tenfold, it's not tenfold increase, that 2 times increase on the gold again. So it is interesting to see how things will grow over time, and how we can prepare ourselves, I think, is really important. So the crux of this is, if we are buying gold right now in this market that we're seeing, buying 1 gram gold bars, I've always thought, is not the best choice. A lot of people think, it's just really unaffordable to buy gold, can't get it, it's just too expensive. Certainly if you're looking at a 1 ounce gold coin, you're going to have to be saving for months sometimes to get that. But you know, at the smaller end, a sovereign is just simply the best thing. Honestly, you'd think that this channel is sponsored by sovereigns, considering how much I talk about them and how good I think they are. But they genuinely are, in my opinion, the best coins out there in the stacker world. You can just get them for really cheap over spot at the moment, if not spot price. They hold their value really well in terms of any additional premium on them. They're popular, they're liquid, people just want to get them, and they are, in my opinion, the best stacking coin for us in the United Kingdom. They're capital gains tax exempt as well, so you don't have to worry about making all of the additional taxes to the government if you make a lot of money on your silver, which you perhaps would have to do on a big kilo bar. So there's lots going on, and I think it's really quite an interesting prospect to see where things will be in the future. Now, to wrap things up for those Cool Kids Club members, I made a decision on that big 5 kilo bar. I'm chopping it up. I'm chopping it up to melt it down. So it's hard going. I'm having to basically use a very large pair of bolt cutters to chop this up, and it's hard work, and I've managed to get off about 2 and a bit kilos of it so far. So I'm just taking it easy, just doing a little bit every day. Maybe I'll make a video about it at some point. But yeah, from my perspective, this was just never going to be a practical investment. And yeah, so some of my poured silver in the not too distant future will be made up of a very chopped up Schloss Guldengosse, well, it's now KG fine silver 999 square that is, well, being slowly eaten. Looks like I've been taking chunks out of it with my teeth. You'd have to have some pretty golden teeth to do that, like Jaws. Or was it, did he have golden teeth or was it silver teeth? I can't remember. Anyway, Cool Kids Club members, let me know what you think of that. What sacrilege have I committed? Maybe I'll do another video on that at some point. But anyway, that is it from me. A huge thanks to the Cool Kids Club members and the Backyard Bullion Ramblers for sticking around to the back end of my videos. Let me know what you think about this topic. What are you doing? What are you doing to prepare your stack and your investments in the future? What are you looking to buy right now? Is it big chunky bits of gold? Are you onto the silver train? It'd be great to hear from you. That's why we do these kind of videos. We'll see you down in the comment section. Otherwise, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on the way out. Otherwise, that's it from me. We'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.